Welcome back to Solving Politics, the only show on politics that gives you answers to today's political problems. Well, a couple days ago, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sat down and did an interview where he told the interviewer that the Israeli government and Israel is planning on ending over the next 10 years the $3.8 billion line of credit it gets from Israel, or it gets from the U.S., to buy American weapons. What none of the Jew haters have ever bothered to figure out or even ask, because they're just not intelligent people. I mean, they're basically retarded. How many times have you heard that, well, Israel gets $3.8 billion? Did anyone ever stop to ask, what does the U.S. get in return? No. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that, because honestly, both sides have been pretty much terminally stupid when you don't even ask that. I mean, if someone's saying you're getting $3.8 billion, wouldn't the next question be, what am I expected to do in return? Well, let's talk about that. Israel gets a $3.8 billion line of credit from the United States to buy overpriced American weapons. 100% of that has to be spent on U.S. weapons, basically keeping tens of thousands of Americans employed. It also stops Israel from taking American-U.S. contracts and undercutting them, because Israel can build cheaper weapons at a better price. I should say cheaper weapons and better weapons than the U.S. can, and would take a huge portion of the U.S. market. So that's $3.8 billion right back to the U.S., but the list goes on from there. It comes out to $663.8 billion we get in benefits from Israel on a $3.8 billion line of credit, a 175-fold return on our investment. So in addition to that $3.8 billion, Israel spends $30 billion, about 8 times that amount of money, on their own on buying American weapons for about $30 billion a year they spend. So that comes out to what? $33.8 billion, and we haven't even gotten started. We also get $80 billion a year in high tech from Israel. Keep in mind, what do we get from the Muslim world? We get murder and misery, and nothing more than that. Let's keep going, because we've barely even started. According to former head of the U.S. Air Force, General George Kennan, Israel is worth 5 CIAs. 5 CIAs at $90 billion a year in budget for the CIA is another $450 billion that we get from Israel. And the list goes on from there. It would take an estimated 1 million American troops deployed overseas at $100,000 per soldier deployed overseas, plus thousands coming back in body bags, to wall off the Middle East from the jihadis, who have no other purpose than to enslave the human race under Sharia law. That's all they do. There is no other purpose to the jihadis and to the Islamists than to get the world to be subjugated under Sharia law, which of course means women with less rights than farm animals have in Israel, gays and LGBT all murdered, the kings of black slavery, and 60 million Christians dead. It would be $100 billion on top of those other numbers to fund 1 million American soldiers at $100,000 a soldier deployed overseas, and tens of thousands coming back in body bags, as opposed to Israel taking the fatalities. Remember, Israel just got done fighting a 7-front war against the jihadis and the Islamists. And yeah, they were fighting for their own survival. But if those jihadis hadn't been pinned down in the Middle East, they would be right here in the West. Total so far is $663.8 billion we get back from Israel on a $3.8 billion line of credit, 175-fold return. In addition to that, we get free weapons upgrades, 600 upgrades on one aircraft alone, free weapons storage in the most dangerous part of the world thanks to Islam, and then the invaluable number that can't even be figured is free research and development. We get to find out firsthand how these weapons hold up, how the tactics hold up, and free training from the Israelis on all of that. There is no dollar amount that could be put on that. And who knows how many tens, if not hundreds of thousands of American lives. Compare that to these quote-unquote allies we have, like in Europe, who wouldn't be bothered even doing a damn thing about securing the Strait of Hormuz, where their oil comes from. Compare that to the American soldiers who've died. None have died defending Israel. Compare that to the American soldiers who've died defending Korea and defending Europe. And yes, Trump did make the right move, going ahead and attacking Iran. Iran is run by 12th Imam Shia. These lunatics believe they need an apocalypse. A nuclear one would serve perfectly. So their prophet will come back from the dead and lead them on their final battle. If they hadn't been stopped, and if they're not going to be stopped, it will be nuclear Armageddon. That is a guarantee. So $663.8 billion we get from Israel in benefits on a $3.8 billion line of credit. Not surprising that the Jew haters, not only did they not give you those numbers, I don't even think they're mentally capable of thinking of them. 175-fold return. That is what foreign aid should be based on. I'll see you in the next episode.